We've said it before, and we will continue to say it. Tokyo DisneySea is the world's best theme park. A masterclass in immersive design full of world-class attractions and Finding Nemo Sea Rider. But look, you ain't here to hear us waffle on about how good DisneySea is. You want to know what rides and shows and attractions are actually in there. With all of the changes over the past few years, it can be a little difficult to keep track of it, but thankfully, that's what we're here for. In today's video, there's no need to wait in a multi-hour queue before the park is even open, as we explore everything Tokyo DisneySea has to offer, from its highlights to its lowlights. Entering under the impressive Miracosta Hotel, you are greeted by arguably the greatest theme park reveal of all time. The imposing Mount Prometheus towering over the Italian portside land of Mediterranean Harbour. Quickly circling back though to the Miracosta, this luxurious, incredible hotel is one of the few places in the world where you can actually stay overnight within a Disney theme park. Thankfully, the hotel is open to anyone and everyone who just wants to have a look around, which, trust us, we do almost every trip. It's really nice to just leave through this resort. It's very chill. Due to its sheer size, Mediterranean Harbour is split into two halves, with the first containing the expected shops, restaurants, and most importantly, Mama Biscotti's bakery, the perfect place to grab a breakfast coffee and pastry before starting your day. Thankfully, you don't have to go far to come across your first ride. Taking a right once you hit the water, you will find the largest attraction in this entrance land, Soaring Fantastic Flight. While the ride film of this fly-in theater-style attraction is almost identical to Soarin' Around the World at the other Disney theme parks, the updated queue, pre-show, and special effects used throughout make this a must-ride attraction. If you like Soarin' elsewhere, then chances are you're going to love this version. Entering the towering Museum of Fantastic Flight, you are surrounded by artwork dedicated to humankind's enduring dream of flight. You then enter a pre-show where you meet Camellia Falco, the first female member of the Society of Explorers and Adventurers, or SEA, as it's come to be known, and the creator of the Dream Flyer, the glider that takes you on our fantastic flight above various sites, including the Matterhorn, the Great Wall of China, the Eiffel Tower, and of course, Tokyo DisneySea. Past Soaring, sitting in front of Mount Prometheus is a citadel, home to fortress explorations. A walkthrough experience where you can walk around freely, exploring various interactive exhibits, including a chamber of planets, a navigation center, and an impressive working Foucault pendulum. I think I pronounced that right. I probably didn't. If you prefer to have a more guided tour of the fortress, be sure to check out the Leonardo Challenge, an interactive game where you are given a map and must complete certain activities within the fort. Keep in mind that this is presented in Japanese, but if you don't speak the language, it is very straightforward and you will easily get the gist. This goes for a lot of the park as well. You'll notice walking around that many of these signs and attractions have quite a bit of English within them, but anything spoken is generally Japanese. Now, we don't speak Japanese here at Review Time, but we've never found that to detract from the experience at Tokyo Disney. Back on the other side of the land, Mediterranean Harbour is home to arguably one of the most chill attractions in any Disney theme park, the Venetian gondolas. As the name suggests, this gondola ride takes you through the canals in the Venice section of the land, before shortly ducking out into the harbour itself, giving you one of the most spectacular views in any theme park in the world. As a nice little surprise, the gondola drivers will cheerfully sing to you as the world goes by around you. The land also contains one of the stops of the DisneySea Transit Steamer Line, a paddle steamer that takes you between this land and Lost River Delta at the back of the park. Your legs will thank you for utilizing this transport, as you're guaranteed to already do a lot of steps when at Tokyo DisneySea. This is a big park. Now, the Mediterranean Harbour comes alive at night as the stage for the park's current evening spectacular, Believe, Sea of Dreams, hosted by Peter Pan and Wendy. The show is packed with characters, projection mapping, boats, and incredible special effects. This show is the perfect end to your day at Tokyo DisneySea, making Mediterranean Harbour the ultimate bookend to your visit in the park. Now, a visit to Tokyo Disney Resort isn't complete without trying the exclusive and exciting popcorn flavors, so don't worry, we will be pointing out where to find the best flavors and those to completely avoid. That's coming up later in this video. There is one that we despise, and people have told us it's not actually that bad, but it was awful. We will get to that. The Mediterranean harbour starts things off relatively safe, though, with the only available flavour being black pepper, which is just like a faint black pepper popcorn. It's fairly straightforward. Moving around from Mediterranean Harbour and taking a left, you will step foot into one of the largest lands in the park, American Waterfront, which is split into several smaller sublands. You might see that's a theme of Tokyo DisneySea. Remember, this is a big park. I mentioned that before. This land is themed around New York and New England at the turn of the 20th century, the same time frame Main Street USA is meant to emulate for small-town America. Literally towering over the American waterfront is the Tower of Terror, with this version featuring a completely original storyline, not at all connected with the Twilight Zone intellectual property. Inside, the New York City Preservation Society invites you, if you dare, to step foot inside a long-abandoned Hotel Hightower. Inside, you learn of the hotel's owner, Harrison Hightower, who mysteriously disappeared on New Year's Eve, 1899, right after acquiring the cursed Shiriki Utandu artifact. Aboard the ride, you find out what happened to Hightower in his penthouse suite before plummeting back down to Earth. This version isn't as intense as the other versions of Tower Around the World. The original story and overall atmosphere make it one of the standout attractions in the park, and you'll notice most of the things we mention here are going to be standout attractions. This park is full of them. That's why we love going to Tokyo DisneySea. Inside the Toyville Trolley Park subsection of the American Waterfront, you will find Toy Story Mania. While the inside of the attraction is essentially identical to elsewhere in the world, the external facade has been significantly improved in classic Tokyo DisneySea fashion, emulating the golden age of seaside boardwalk amusement parks and entering through an oversized Woody mouth. On the attraction, it's the zany carnival game experience you know and love, where friends and family mean nothing and high scores are all that matters. Now, being Tokyo DisneySea, the land contains a huge cruise ship called the SS Columbia, because why not? It contains several restaurants and the incredible Teddy Roosevelt Lounge and the crowd favorite Turtle Talk with Crush. Here you can talk to the titular sea turtle from Finding Nemo. However, this attraction is offered exclusively in Japanese, so it's probably not a visit if you aren't fluent in the language. There is no exception here. You probably won't understand a thing that's going on. Trust us, we know. Even if you don't see the show, be sure to head around the Columbia, as on the deck, you can get some spectacular views over the rest of the American waterfront. Now, if you're thinking, wow, Tokyo DisneySea looks amazing, but I wish there were more big city vehicles, well then you will be surprised to find out the Tokyo DisneySea has big city vehicles, and they exist to take you around the American waterfront in a stylish manner. There is also another stop for the DisneySea Transit steamer liner in the American waterfront, but be aware this stop only offers round-trip services back to the same dock. It's perfect for sightseeing, but you're not really going to get anywhere. You're just going to go around Tokyo DisneySea. Speaking of transport rides, this land also contains one of the 2 stops for the DisneySea Electric Railway, an elevated trolley car that will take you between the American waterfront and Port Discovery, which we'll get into later. While the ride isn't that much faster than walking, it does give you a beautiful bird's eye view of Tokyo DisneySea. Now, the American waterfront is home to one of the most spectacular theaters Disney has ever built, the Broadway Music Theater. For years, this has been home to Big Band Beat, one of the greatest theme park shows of all time. Unfortunately, during 2020, this show was reduced to its current offering, Big Band Beat, a special treat that sadly did away with the live singers and bands, which I wouldn't call a special treat. Maybe the special treat is the fact that it's back in some capacity. Look, I would prefer to have something over nothing, but it is sad that they kind of diminished the original version. There are rumors, though, that it's coming back, so that's something to look forward to. The show is a review of some of the greatest swinging jazz tunes of the 1920s and 40s and features an incredible cast of dancers and Disney characters. The special treat version of the show is set to close in September, so hopefully it will be brought back to its former glory when the next show takes over. Thankfully, even this current version features the jaw-dropping moment of Mickey Mouse slamming away on the drums. Everyone just goes wild during this moment. It is such a good time. Away from the bustling New York section of the land, you have the quaint seaside village of Cape Cod, or as we lovingly call it, Duffy Land, USA. This section contains multiple Duffy photo ops, one of the 2 Duffy stores in the American waterfront, and the Duffy Diner Theater show called Duffy and Friends Wonderful Friendship, where you get to see every single Duffy friend on stage while dining on one of the most confusing burgers I've ever had in my life. If you didn't notice, DisneySea is really big on Duffy. Now you might be wondering, if you've never heard of it, what on the earth is a Duffy? Well, Duffy is a bear that they tried in the US and it failed, so they got rid of it, but it just took off in Asia, especially Tokyo, Hong Kong, and Shanghai. And Tokyo DisneySea is the only place at the Tokyo Disney Resort where you can buy a Duffy. Some people will literally only come to this park just to get more Duffys. And I would say half of the shops are just dedicated to this one bear. But enough about Duffy for now. If you're after popcorn, this might be the dreamland for you, as across all of its carts, it contains the flavors of milk chocolate, caramel, garlic shrimp, and, unfortunately, roast beef. No more on that later. Now look, we know you've been gazing at this park for the last 11 minutes and 33 seconds and are simply champing at the bit to get there. And when you decide to buy tickets, be sure to use this week's video's sponsor, Klook. Klook is our perfect sponsor, as we've personally been using them for the last 18 months to buy tickets to Hong Kong Disneyland, Tokyo Disney, Universal Studios Japan, Universal Studios Singapore, and countless other attractions. For us, using Klook is a no-brainer. It's stupidly easy to use, offers the best prices, and allows us to pay in our local currency of Australian dollars. So whether you're heading to Japan or anywhere else in the world, sign up for Klook today using the link below, and be sure to use our creator code of ReviewTime. That's ReviewTime with a Y. It gives you a hefty discount whilst also helping us and if you book in the next couple of weeks, there are thousands of discounted activities across Japan and South Korea with Klook's Cherry Blossom campaign. So make sure to use code ReviewTime, that's ReviewTime with a Y, when you sign up for Klook. Thank you so much to Klook for sponsoring this video, and to anyone who uses our code, it allows us to keep doing these incredible things that we get to do. Continuing around from the American waterfront, you next enter Port Discovery. One of the smallest lands at Tokyo DisneySea, this is the park's analog to Tomorrowland. Set in a futuristic research port, this land guarantees its timelessness by embracing a retro-futurism aesthetic. It's almost like steampunk, it's very nice. The land's most eye-catching attraction is Aquatopia, an incredibly unique implementation of Disney's trackless ride system. The ride features a multitude of hovercraft that duck and weave and dance with each other throughout a large lagoon. The trackless ride system means you never quite know where you are about to go, and at any moment feel like you might be dunked into a waterfall or sucked up into a whirlpool. Just be aware that in the summer they run a get wet version of the ride where, trust us, you will be completely submerged in that waterfall. They get you very wet. The other attraction in this area is Nemo and Friends Sea Rider, a simulator attraction where you board a fish-shaped submarine and you're shrunk down to the size of a fish so you can join Dory and Nemo on an adventure through the ocean. This ride is unfortunately one of the weaker offerings in the park and replaced the incredibly unique Storm Rider, which is one of the reasons why I don't like this ride all that much. Still, it rarely sees long waits and is worth checking out when passing by. It's basically a giant version of Star Tours. This land contains several restaurants as well, but we all know what you really want to know about is the popcorn, which here is the sometimes contentious soy sauce and butter flavor. It's kind of a more salty butter popcorn, but some people don't really like the aftertaste that comes along with this, which we understand. Heading back towards the center, you enter one of the most immersive lands and the true heart of the park, Mysterious Island. Themed after the writings of Jules Verne of all things, this all-encompassing land puts you smack in the middle of the park's iconic volcano, Mount Prometheus. I bet you didn't think when you saw that from the entrance that you'd actually go in there, but here we are. Inside the active volcano is the thesis ride of the entire park, Journey to the Center of the Earth, an attraction that perfectly blends dark ride storytelling and high-octane thrills. After using Terravaders to take you half a mile underground, you board a mining vehicle that utilizes the same ride system as Test Track at Epcot. Aboard, you travel through a cavern of glowing crystals, a giant mushroom forest filled with fantastical creatures, and come face to face with a giant lava monster, one of the largest, most imposing animatronics ever created by Disney, all before bursting out the top of the volcano on a wave of lava. If for some strange reason you can only ride one attraction at Tokyo DisneySea, make it this one. The land's other attraction is 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, where you board a Neptune submarine to explore the ocean deep below Mysterious Island. You become a volunteer crew helping Captain Nemo reveal the mysteries of the deep through a built-in interactive searchlight. In the depths, you come face to face with sea creatures, ship graveyards, a giant squid, and even a race of alien-looking creatures who call the lost city of Atlantis home. This ride doesn't contain any thrills, but is an incredibly satisfying dark ride with one of the most convincing theme park effects of all time, as you never actually go underwater, and instead are suspended from above the whole time, similar to Peter Pan's flight, with the only water on the ride being cleverly hidden in the windows you look out from. Even knowing exactly how this works, every time I do this, I am convinced that I am underwater. It is very good. Mysterious Island is also home to one of DisneySea's most infamous food items, the gyoza dog, available at the Nautilus Galley down on the waterfront next to the impressive Nautilus submarine. This food item features all of the internal goodness of a gyoza stuffed into a soft, pillowy bun. On our most recent trip, however, this was nowhere near as good as it has been in the past, and even had lines up to like an hour long that was longer than some attractions. Hopefully this was just one bad serve, as previously this was a must-eat item in the park. So let us know if you've had one recently and if it's been good, because we want to be convinced that it hasn't been changed. Unfortunately, there is no popcorn in Mysterious Island, but you can dine at the Volcania restaurant or shop at Nautilus Gifts, which bizarrely mostly seems to contain Baymax merch and not a single thing themed to the actual land. Exiting Mysterious Island, you will spot the spires of Mermaid Lagoon, a land themed after the Little Mermaid and split into both indoor and outdoor sections. The smaller outdoor section contains a family spinner ride entitled Scuttle's Scooters, as well as one of the 2 roller coasters in the park and the only family coaster, Flounder's Flying Fish Coaster. This is the perfect first coaster for your little ones as you fly around the lagoon. The main draw for this land is the impressive indoor area containing several attractions and walkthrough experiences. Inside, there are several classic theme park attractions, including Jumping Jellyfish, Blowfish Balloon Race, and the Whirlpool. This land also used to include a spectacular show in the Mermaid Lagoon Theatre called King Triton's Concert. In the show, Triton hosted a musical concert packed with puppets, animatronics, and aerial swimming above guests' heads. Unfortunately, this show closed because of the worldwide event in 2020 and hasn't opened since. Hopefully it does sometime soon, as it's an incredible offering. Most importantly, the popcorn flavor available in this land is the perennial favorite, caramel. But leaving the comfort of the indoors and heading back into the scorching sunlight of Tokyo and taking a left, you enter Lost River Delta, themed around an ancient Central American civilization. The land is lush with foliage enveloping each of the rides, creating impressive moments where you spot something like a giant temple sticking out towards the sky. Inside the land's towering and foreboding Mesoamerican pyramid is Indiana Jones' adventure, Temple of the Crystal Skull. Thankfully, not at all related to the Crystal Skull film, with the ride opening 7 years before the film actually debuted. Inside, you board a jeep and embark on a voyage deep into the Temple of the Crystal Skull, where the aforementioned cranium isn't too pleased to see you, sending you on a wild journey throughout the temple's many rooms, desperately trying to escape. This ride is very similar to Disneyland's Indy ride, but features more reliable effects, making for an overall higher quality experience and one of the greatest dark rides of all time. It is relatively thrilling though, and kids might get scared, so just keep that in mind. The other attraction in this land might just be one of the most over-promising coasters of all time, Raging Spirits. Set within a crumbling structure, the entrance to this ride features a waterfall on fire, but the coaster itself is relatively lackluster. I have no idea how they managed to make a loop feel like nothing. The ride is relatively short and fails to pack a punch, almost becoming more of a sightseeing tour, giving you an impressive overview of Tokyo DisneySea from the top of the lift hill. Lost River Delta is also home to another major indoor theater called the Hangar Stage. Previously, we had seen one of the most confusing shows of all time here called Out of Shadowland. We genuinely can't even explain what we saw. Currently, this theater is closed, but a new show has been announced entitled Dreams Take Flight, which is set to debut on July 16th this year. This land also contains two of the main quick service restaurants in the park, Miguel's El Dorado Cantina and Yucatan Base Camp Grill, with Miguel's often being one of the main locations to get the seasonal food offered during each special event. The popcorn here isn't anything special though, being the relatively safe flavor of simply salt. The second last port of call is the Arabian Coast, combining Agrabah from Aladdin with the world of 1001 Arabian Nights. In our eyes, the main reason to visit this land is for Sinbad's storybook voyage, a very nice boat ride where you join Sinbad and his incredibly cute tiger sidekick Chandu on a musical journey through Sinbad's 7 legendary voyages. This ride features a scale rarely seen in theme park boat rides, where some scenes and animatronics tower above you in your boat. The ride always sees criminally low waits, and we've been known to ride this several times in a day. Just be aware it will be impossible to get the ride's theme song out of your head once you've ridden it. It is insanely catchy. Arabian Coast also contains 2 flat rides, including the double-decker Caravan Carousel and Jasmine's Flying Carpets, both relatively normal attractions, but again, presented in a unique Tokyo Disney quality. Elsewhere in the land is the Magic Lamp Theater, which toes the line between ride and show, offering continuous showtimes for this 4D theater experience. The show features a magician called Shaban, who has found the magical genie lamp and used it to make himself the greatest magician ever seen. Partway through the show, you don your 3D glasses as the genie himself joins in on the fun. The show seamlessly blends the animated genie with the live-action performers, creating some hilarious moments of madcap insanity. The very best thing in the entire land may very well be the popcorn flavor on offer, which is the legendary, must not be missed, almost worth visiting the park for alone, curry flavor. I think I ate this at least 6 to 7 times on our recent trip. It is just that good. Though last but not least, nestled in the corner of the park is Fantasy Springs, Tokyo DisneySea's newest land. Chances are you've already heard a ton about this land, but if you haven't, or if you need a refresher, Fantasy Springs expands Tokyo DisneySea with 3 never-before-seen mini-lands themed to Peter Pan, Tangled, and Frozen. Since the land opened, there have been multiple methods on what was actually required to get into the land and on the 4 rides, so make sure to check out what specifically you need to do on your visit because it changes constantly. Once you enter Fantasy Springs, you have the choice of taking a right towards Tangled or a left towards Peter Pan. Whenever we entered the land, we always took a left for some reason, I'm not really sure why, so let's start with Peter Pan's Neverland Adventure. This is a tracked dark ride with large 3D screens layered seamlessly behind physical environments that has you journeying through the world of Peter Pan. You take the role of a lost child as the ride has you soaring all around Neverland, rescuing the Darling children, coming face to face with Captain Hook, and there's even a little detour by London. Whilst the car tilts and leans to simulate movement, it is not at all thrilling and can be enjoyed comfortably by the whole family. This attraction is full of charm with a nice little pre-show and immersive queue. Just around the corner is Fairy Tinkerbell's Busy Buggies, one of the few fully outdoor attractions at Tokyo DisneySea. Whilst very cute, this outdoor dark ride is pretty basic. It has you journeying through the miniature world of Tinkerbell, visiting various whimsical locations that conclude with a giant mouse animatronic that has quickly earned a cult following. This ride exists to fill the void of children's rides which were desperately needed at Tokyo DisneySea, so don't expect anything groundbreaking here. Fantasy Springs is a little bit of a maze, so after a little exploring, you're likely to run into Rapunzel's Lantern Festival. Actually, chances are you will hear it before you see it, because right next door is Rapunzel's Tower with a little animatronic that sings all day along with the background music. Honestly, this area might be one of the nicest locations in any Disney park. The ride itself is a straightforward boat ride through about half of the story of Tangled. Again, there are no thrills here and the experience is exceptionally short. You essentially wade through roughly 4 scenes before the ride abruptly ends. But let's be real, most people are riding this for the Lantern Room, and it's worth the wait times for that alone. Before we get to our final attraction, you've probably noticed that in a lot of our footage, there is a giant building in the background. Well, that is the Fantasy Springs Hotel. We've done an entire review on this luxury hotel, which we recommend checking out. Surprisingly, inside is where you'll find the Fantasy Springs store, alongside the Fantasy Springs restaurant. Everything is very creatively named here. Last but not least, if there is an attraction that defines Fantasy Springs, it has to be Anna and Elsa's Frozen Journey. Located furthest from the entrance in the Frozen section of Fantasy Springs, this indoor boat dark ride is simply stunning. Do not be fooled, this is not a straight copy of the Epcot or Hong Kong attraction and is its own completely original retelling of the Frozen story as it takes you through every major story beat. With a duration of around 6.5 minutes, this ride is long, but at no point does it seem to meander as you're confronted with some of the best scenes and effects that Imagineering has ever created. If there is one ride not to miss at Tokyo DisneySea, this is it. I don't even like Frozen all that much, and by the finale, I was weeping with just how good it was. I don't even know what came over me. There wasn't even anything that was really happening. I was just crying. Fantasy Springs sadly does not include any form of entertainment, but there are a lot of good places to catch a bite, such as the Snuggly Duckling. But not the roast beef popcorn. This thing almost made Luke throw up, as in his words, it tasted like a combination of Vegemite and cigarettes. Now, some people have told us that they actually like this, and they could be right. I'm sure some people enjoy this, but we saw a lot of people throwing it out, just tasting it a few times and being like, ugh. I didn't think it was super offensive, but it was still offensive. So if you enjoyed this, let us know, because we clearly didn't. Maybe it's just not for us. And that is everything within Tokyo DisneySea. Hopefully you can see now why we consider this the world's best theme park. Jam-packed with exclusive attractions and impressive technology and immersive theming, this is the pinnacle of Disney's theme park design. But what are your thoughts on Tokyo DisneySea? Do you want to go after watching this? And if you have, what do you think? Let us know in the comments below. For review time, I'm Dom. Thanks for watching.